All right, hi everyone, welcome. I'm Annabelle, Talent Community Coordinator at BioBuzz. Today, I'm thrilled to have our amazing guest that we have here, Jennifer Whitmore. Jennifer is Director of Technology and Communication at Bookminders. Jennifer today will be sharing her expertise on enhancing your LinkedIn presence to attract valuable connections and opportunities. Jennifer is a project management professional. She has over 20 years of experience leading teams, managing projects, improving processes, and delivering high-impact solutions for diverse industries. She's very enthusiastic about community involvement, volunteerism, and social progress, and we're super excited to have her here today to present and answer some of your guys' questions. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Jennifer.
Wonderful, thank you so much. I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen here. 1 second while I get the right one. Okay, and that should be on screen for everybody. If you are having an issue seeing that, please raise your hand and let us know.
Looks good, I can see it.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you all for coming today. Today we're going to talk just a little bit about why you should be in LinkedIn, how you can maximize your engagement with that to meet your goals, and just some best practices and tips and tricks for you as you go through your week and plan your LinkedIn engagement. Okay. Certainly going to have time for questions at the end. So if you have any, feel free to just pop those in the chat, or at the end, we'll just ask for those as well. So let's just hop in and get moving on this. So talking about why you should be using LinkedIn. LinkedIn is really an opportunity for you to establish your professional brand. LinkedIn has really grown since it was, launched back in 2003. Back in 2003, like under 100,000 users. Today, over 1 billion. So they actually surpassed the billion mark a few months ago. This year, at the beginning of the year, they're really close. So now there are over 1 billion users. Who's using LinkedIn? Pretty much everybody is using LinkedIn. Certainly the largest group is that 25 to 34-year group, but students and up to 25, and then certainly adults that are 34 up to retirement and post-retirement are using it. They're out there for a lot of different reasons. They're out there as nonprofit professionals, for-profit professionals, students, and professionals at all stages of life are engaging on the platform. It's a huge hub for obtaining a position, obtaining a promotion, and really just expanding your professional network. There's about 140 job applications submitted per second. As you can see, 6 people hired per minute. You can see on the screen the number of people that have received an interview just through engaging on LinkedIn. So it's a pretty great resource if you are looking for a job, looking for the next step of your job, or just really out there experiencing and trying to expand your professional experience. So main 3 things that you're going to be doing on LinkedIn are all going to revolve around one of these items. You're either going to be engaging for branding, networking, or learning purposes. And what that looks like for you depends on where you're at in your stage of your career. So certainly when you're newer, you're just establishing that original professional presence. You're building your brand, letting people know who you are, what you value, what you bring to the table. Really provides you an opportunity to control someone's first impression of you, which is really crucial, certainly when you're out there applying for opportunities. It's opportunity to showcase who you are authentically. Don't be afraid to show your personality. Talk about what you care about. Talk about the things that you're engaged in. And it's an opportunity for you to highlight all of your skills, your achievement, and your knowledge in order to line those future opportunities up. You're going to take the time to network. You're going to be expanding who you know, learning people through third contacts, through commonalities, uncovering opportunities for new jobs, for just new relationships, things that might serve you later in life. Finding your colleagues is important, but certainly, especially if you're on the sales end or you have a business page, interacting with vendors or other perspectives, that you might bring on. Finding a mentor or engaging as a mentor with a mentee. That's an opportunity on LinkedIn as well. And then certainly connecting with the groups and associations that are relevant to you and things that you care about. LinkedIn's a great place to find those communities. Then in terms of your learning, we're going to talk a little bit more about that later on, but there's a great opportunity to gain and share knowledge. There's opportunities through LinkedIn Learning to just learn pretty much about anything you want at a very reasonable cost, if that's something you choose to do. But just another opportunity for you to stay current on business news, engage with thought leaders that are out there, discover companies, schools, all kinds of maybe companies you haven't considered before, schools you would never have considered, and learning about what they care about and seeing if that aligns with your own values and if it's something that you can follow and support and share their thought leadership in your own posts. It's really just a great time to find inspiration. I mean, I will see posts from people that aren't really specific to their job or their school or something like that. Maybe it's about something that they went through and overcame, or somebody else's story of something amazing that's happened to them. And it really can just make your whole day to find that inspiration just in the 10 or 15 minutes a day you spend on LinkedIn. So what's that going to look like for you as a student or a new person newer in your career to somebody who's an established professional or someone looking for their next step? For your students, really, this is the beginning of LinkedIn for you. This is establishing who you are, starting that network and building it, finding those thought leaders and engaging with them, finding those groups and starting your engagement there, identifying an internship or opportunities, lining those things up. As somebody who's been on LinkedIn for a while, maybe you're looking for the next step. So you might be out there certainly looking for your next job, but also you're just there in general, just to expand your presence. Maybe become identified as a thought leader yourself, grow your network, engage in learning opportunities, whether it's directly through LinkedIn Learning or with other professionals. And then just find your future employees, vendors, other people that you might work with, other relationships that will serve you in the future. Let's talk a little bit about your best practices. And the biggest thing with LinkedIn that you don't want to try to do is do everything all at once and become a master immediately. Just do it a little bit at a time. A little bit will serve you well. So let's talk a little bit about your profile. One of the things that is most important about your profile is that you have some sort of photo up there or picture. It doesn't have to be a photo if you're not comfortable, and you put a nice background up. I'm just going to switch over real quick to LinkedIn, and you can look at my profile, for instance. So don't leave the generic one that LinkedIn gives you here. It looks like maybe you're not investing time into it, and it makes you look less legitimate. So even if you don't want to put your own picture here, you could put a picture of something. And then certainly we'll talk in a minute about public profile versus private profile. There's a way to hide your picture if you don't want people who you're not connected to see it. So try to swap that out, because that really does add that air of legitimacy for you. And it just looks nice, makes your profile look good. You definitely want to fill out your headline and the about summary, talking about who you are, what you care about, what you value, what you bring to the table, why you're on LinkedIn. Don't be afraid if you're looking for an opportunity to state that in your summary. Put it out there. And you want to keep it professional, but be authentic. Don't go into ChatGPT and have ChatGPT write you something and then dump it in there. You want to tweak that to showcase who you are, how you speak, and really what you're all about. We talk about your experiences. That doesn't have to be a carbon copy of your resume. So something that you do see quite often when you're looking at profiles, that people will have their experiences and they'll have all their little bullet points, and you don't really need to do that. It should align though with what you are sending to potential opportunities. You want to make sure there aren't contradictions. You don't want to have different dates. You don't want to have different job titles. Have it match. But you don't need to include every little thing. And you want to make sure you don't ignore those other sections that are just as important as your work experience, like your skills, your honors, your awards, your certifications, any organizations and groups. You really want to have that filled out. So I'm going to pop back real quick so we can look at this in real time and just talk about these sections directly where they're at. Up here, you have an opportunity to have your title. You have control over editing this, what this is going to say. You want to have that about section I was talking about, where you want to have something in there that talks about who you are, maybe why you're here. If you're looking for an opportunity, put that information right here. You're going to have an opportunity, and we'll speak about this in a minute, to have some of your posts, add them to what's called the featured post. This is really great. And it doesn't have to be your most recent post, but it could be things that were important to you, that you want people to see first when they're looking at your profile. And then certainly, as I said, mentioned, your experience should be listed here, but it does not need to be everything with all the bullet points. You can summarize things. Don't leave out education, obviously, and definitely include licenses and certifications and any volunteering, things that you have. You want to include that information. Yep, I'm going to get back to your profile here. So talking about who you're going to connect with on LinkedIn, because not just having your profile filled out, but then having that network, building that network is an important part of your engagement out there. So you want to connect with anybody who you've met, who you've attended an event with, who maybe you just have a commonality with. You went to the same school, you're a part of the same association, you live in the same area and have similar interests, those sorts of things, so that when you send that person a connection request, you can speak to those things. When you send the request, you don't just want to send a request and not say, hey, I met you at this event, or I see you also went to Edinburgh, I'd love to connect with a fellow alumna. So definitely include that information when you send those connection requests out. And if you don't have a paid account, you're only going to be able to send connection requests to people that you have a common contact on LinkedIn with already. So if you want to be able to connect with people who you don't have a common contact with, you'll need to have a premium account. Okay. So what you should be doing after you've got your profile up, you started sending connection requests out, now what? So now is your time to post and engage with posts that are out there. You want to comment on people's posts, you want to like them, love them, celebrate them, whatever emoji you want to pick. You want to repost things that align with your values or things you think are important for other people to know. Showcase who you are with your reposts. And you definitely want to keep it professional-ish, but again, don't be afraid to show your personality. Use language that's language you use. Doesn't have to be wooden, stiff, ChatGPT provided lingo. Use that AI support that's in LinkedIn with a little bit of care. You don't want to overuse that. And you want to make sure that you're including content that gets people's attention. So the things that people pay the most attention to are posts that have videos, images, link outs to articles and events aren't as highly rated by the LinkedIn algorithm unless it's a LinkedIn item. LinkedIn will deprioritize those items in the feed. But if you're sharing an event, obviously you're going to link to the event. Or if you're sharing an outside article, you're going to link to the article. A little trick with that can be, say, see the link in the comments and then add the link as the first comment. But you don't have to do that. If you want to just put the link in, you can. Just be aware that if all you care about are views, it may decrease your views with the LinkedIn algorithm. LinkedIn no longer supports hashtags in posts. That's something that went away this year. So they used to allow it. They now don't. Search, and by search, let's just pull this up so we can be sure we're talking about the same thing. So when I'm searching for a post, I used to be able to search hashtag like work-life balance, like hashtag accountability, something like that. And you can still search on that, but it's not using the hashtags anymore. Now it's just using the words work-life balance that appear in the post. So that's something that changed this year. So you don't really need to worry about using hashtags in your LinkedIn posts, but you definitely can still use emojis to kind of make it fun, make it something that's interesting, not just a wall of text for people to look at. And again, definitely have videos, definitely have photos, things like that in your posts in order to get people to look. How often should you be posting? So 3 to 5 times per week is a good amount. We'll talk a little bit more about when that should be, but 3 to 5 times is fine. You don't want to focus just on quantity. Like, you want good posts, interesting posts, things that are authentic and reflective of what you care about, not just posting for posting's sake. So make sure that you kind of adhere to that. So that's pretty much it for the kinds of things you're going to be posting about. Groups that you're going to get involved in, anything that is important, again, to you and what's going on in your life right now. So is it relevant to where you are as a professional or where you want to go? Definitely, if you want to become a lawyer and you're not currently a lawyer, you're currently a student, get involved with groups that are around, that are, lawyers, that sort of thing. You want something that's appropriate for you. You want to be the most active in those groups, because those are the kind of networks and the kind of connections you're going to make that are going to feed what you're doing in the future, the opportunities that are going to come your way. So being involved in those groups, picking the best of the best, If you do a search on accounting groups or lawyers or whatever it is, you're going to see probably thousands of groups. You want to pick the ones that have a good number of followers, they have a good amount of engagement. You can't follow everything. So, pick the best ones, cream of the crop on that. And engage with the content. Don't just follow a group and then never like or look at their posts, never share anything of your own. You definitely want to be, engaging in those groups and using them actively. And then, of course, you can follow the other pages, news outlets, influencers, other businesses, things like that. So some tips and tricks about this. So talking more in depth about your profile. So I mentioned before about the featured post section, and I think this is a really nice way for you to showcase who you are and what you care about through the posts you've made and keep the posts you've made relevant. So again, I showed you where those were, and I'll look at those again here in a minute when I switch over to show you the public profile. So this is something you definitely want to consider when you are being cautious about what you're putting out there. So as a reminder, in your profile, the featured post section is this area. And you can just hit the plus to include other posts and edit to remove things from here. You can reorder things. So things you want to move up or down, you can do that. You can remove something from the featured post if you want to remove it. Very easy to work with that section. And then in terms of your public profile, you will see that if I go to my profile, up here on the right, there's a public profile, and then there's this little pencil. If I click on that, it's going to show me what I've chosen to show people who I am not connected with. And then there are levels of that you can pick. Like, for instance, my photo. I do have it on where it will show it some basic information about me to everybody in LinkedIn. I could restrict that further if I wanted, or I could make it public so that everybody could see my photo. It's really just going to be about what your comfort level is. And then you're going to notice that the public profile is going to pick certain information to show, and it displays it in a way that's a little different than when somebody who's already connected with you looks at your profile. Okay, so you can toggle these things on and off in order to get the kind of experience for those you don't know that you're comfortable with. You do want to keep your profile updated. So it doesn't help if you updated it 2 years ago and now you are in a different place, you have a different degree, you've worked another job since then, you're sending out applications and nothing matches with your LinkedIn. And trust me that employers are snooping on your LinkedIn. So keep it updated, keep it matching. And then requesting endorsements. This is definitely something that you can do through your profile. You'll see it at the bottom, but don't do this immediately if you are newer in your career. You want to make sure you know this person, you've really interacted with them before you go out and request an endorsement, asking them to say, yes, Jennifer knows something about project management or knows something about, LinkedIn or something like that. So do that, but don't do it immediately. Make sure you establish that relationship first, and then also be willing to reciprocate. If you are going to ask someone to endorse you for a skill, then you want to be able to endorse them for a skill because it shows that you know them well enough to do that. Okay. So we talked a little bit earlier about how often to post, 3 to 5 times a week. And these are the times that right now are the best times to post. And this changes a little bit from time to time. So it's something you could look up. If you look in a year, this could be different. But right now, Tuesday, Wednesday, between 10 and noon, Monday in the middle of the day, Friday in the morning, you can schedule posts on LinkedIn. So if you're thinking, well, Friday morning never works for me, I cannot post then, like ever. So when you do your post, you just click in here and start your post, write whatever you're going to write, and then click on this little schedule thing, and you can pick when you want to schedule it for, the date and the time. And then it will automatically get posted at that point. And that's including if you attach media or a video or a link or whatever. It's the post, however you write it, it's going to post at that time. So this is super helpful in terms of keeping you on track and getting you posted when you want to have the most engagement, which is right now, these times. In terms of the best post to do, we talked a little bit about that earlier. You can add media, and you can also choose your post type. So again, if we pop back into this, I don't just have to include a picture. I can also, if I click this little plus, I can make this post specific to an event and create an event link, or celebrate an occasion. And then LinkedIn has a template for that. Like if I pick that and just say I want to celebrate my work anniversary, I can add a pretty photo here, and it'll make a nice nice post for me. It looks a little different than standard post, or I can pick from one of LinkedIn's standard posts that it would pick for that. So Those are cool ones to do too, and they do sometimes get a little higher with the engagement because they get pushed up a bit in the feed than just a regular post. As I mentioned earlier, LinkedIn now has AI built into the post, so you can write something and then click on this rewrite with the AI and it'll help you rewrite the post. But just be a little cautious about how much you use that. You don't want it to sound like AI wrote your posts. You want your post to sound like you in order to be as authentic and get the most engagement that you can. And then tagging people is a really great way to improve the visibility of your post and also honestly build your network, because you can tag people you don't know. So, and then remove their last names and just have their first names on there. That's another good tip. So let me grab this again because I want to show you in case you haven't done it before. So if I start typing a post and I just put the @ symbol and start typing someone's name, it's going to come up with people that have that name. Now, this is one of my employees, but there are other Jenna Kellys that I'm not connected with that I could pick instead. And so you want to make sure you get the right person when you're tagging. So I can go ahead and pick that. And if I had something to say about her, but I don't want to have her whole name because it doesn't fit the style of writing, I could just erase her last name and it keeps the tag. So you can do that with posts. You can also do it if I add media. Say I add a photograph, I can tag the person in there too. So if I just go to pictures and then pick any picture that I have here, I can pick this and start tagging people in here. All I have to do is start typing their names. I don't need the @ symbol because LinkedIn knows I'm tagging them, and start typing their names. And then I'll be able to tag them. That allows me to not put their name in the body of the post, yet have them be tagged in the post and have that pushed to their feed and all of their followers. So just be aware that if you are trying to tag somebody and you can't tag them, it's because they've disabled it. So it is possible to turn that off, and people do from time to time have that setting turned off. But great way to increase engagement and also increase your network. So again, visit their profile first. Don't be afraid to do a LinkedIn search. Make sure you have the right profile, know what that person's name, title, and profile photo looks like so you've got the right person when you add that tag. So a little bit more with tips and tricks. Don't just post, I'm looking for a job, or I did this thing. Share your projects, share your stories. I participated in an awesome volunteer event this past weekend. I learned so much. I had a great hike with my dog, really made me feel centered and appreciate my life. Like, LinkedIn isn't just for purely work-related posts at this point. You can go a little outside of that. Don't go too far. Keep it appropriate. You want to make sure you don't share anything that you wouldn't share with a coworker that you would be uncomfortable sharing. So find a happy medium there, but tell your story. Let people know who you are. This is your opportunity to establish yourself as a brand. Learn things from the notifications and the post analytics that LinkedIn gives you. So if I just pull this up again, I have no problem sharing my stuff with you guys, as you know. If I look at my notifications, let me get out of here. Discard. I have so much crap. Okay. If I click on my notifications, I can look back and see who's viewing my profile. Annabelle and I met today an hour ago. She viewed my profile. Makes sense. But if somebody else was viewing my profile, it might tell me, hey, this person, especially if I see XYZ company that I just applied to, somebody has viewed my profile, that person's checking out my profile. Maybe a good time to send an email to XYZ company and say, can't wait to hear back from you. So excited about the opportunity I just applied for. Or if I had an interview, really appreciated our time together. Very excited about the opportunity. Can't wait to talk again. You know, something like that, because you know that they are currently looking at you and considering you. So use those notifications to your advantage to learn what you can learn and further your goals. Using the people search on a business and organization page. So this is something that's super helpful. If I go to, let's just go to Johnson & Johnson, because one of my former employers. If I'm looking to connect with somebody, say I met somebody at an event last night and I got their first name, but not their last name. Now, of course, this is a huge company with tons of people, so it might be harder. But if they had a really unique name, like Armani is a more unique name, I might be able to just search on that person's name and then come up with less people and find the person who I met last night and didn't get their whole name and connect with them. Or I'm applying for an opportunity and I want to go out here and I want to see who is in charge of HR at this company. If I click this show more, I can go over and sort them by what they do, maybe how I'm connected. If I know that we have somebody in common, I want to try to find other people to build my network. I could go look for my second connections and then start connection requests that way. So there's a lot of opportunity to find people in a targeted way that meet your goals by using that feature. Direct messaging. So talking to people who you don't know or you want to connect with. If you do not have premium, this is going to be limited for you to just the people who you're connected to. However, you can message second and third people if you have a premium account. So those are people that you have a common connection with. Or somebody might have themselves set as an open profile, and that means that anybody can connect to them, can send them a direct message. So you can use that to obviously ask about an opportunity, especially if you're searching for an internship or your next step, just to introduce yourself and try to make a connection. If it's somebody who you want to add to your network who has an open profile, and you don't have a premium account, so you still want to build that. This is just a good way to get further your goals through connection in the messaging platform that they have. So we've talked about a couple of things that you can and can't do premium. So is premium worth it? I think is a good question. And I will say it depends on what you're trying to do. In terms of a premium account right now, you can get the premium account. It's on a 30-day trial. It pretty much almost always is on a 30-day trial for free before they charge you. And it costs $30 a month. And that's just the basic career. That's their basic premium account. 90% of you, that's sufficient. You aren't necessarily out there trying to further your own business. But if you are, look at the features of business because it might work for you. You're not a sales professional, but if you are and your company is paying for your LinkedIn, then Sales Navigator might be a good opportunity for you. And certainly if you are somebody who's in talent acquisition, then Recruiter Lite would be a good opportunity for you. And again, these are things I would consider, especially if my company were paying for it. If I were paying for it, honestly, the career is 90% of the time sufficient. Premium does give you more email and business insights if you get the business version. So if you want more opportunity to send direct messages to people, that is a benefit of paying a little bit more. And but like I said, for most of you, the career is going to be sufficient. LinkedIn Learning is included with the premium accounts. So LinkedIn Learning is a huge boon if you have premium. There's so much you can learn out there. They used to allow you to purchase LinkedIn Premium separately. I'm going to go to that real quick, but they no longer do. So it was really nice when they did, and they would have it. And LinkedIn Learning would be right here if you had it. You could go in there and just say, what do I want to learn? And they have an AI that'll help you find things. And they have, of course, prompts and things like that. You can also just search the library, go through and search that and see what trends, you'd like to learn things on. There's entire series. There's series out here that support certifications. If you're trying to get like a Microsoft certification in a certain area or like an A+ certification, there are courses out there that lend towards that. So you just want to carefully review those and see if those meet your goals. But I definitely recommend if you are going to have, sorry, I'm trying to get this back up here. If you are going to have a premium account, to use the LinkedIn Learning because it's included. Would I purchase premium just for LinkedIn Learning? Not unless my company was paying for it, honestly. And then there's just a few articles, and I can provide this slideshow to Annabelle if you would like those links so that you can go out and learn a little bit more about LinkedIn, what's happening and what people say is best in LinkedIn and how you can best use it in order to further your goals and optimize your career. That varies, honestly, month to month, year to year. It all changes a little bit. So it's good to check out current items, but these are all fairly good articles. So those would be good. And then last but not least, check out my profile and connect with me. I'm happy to connect with any of you. If you want some advice, if you want me to look at your profile and give you my assessment, I'll be happy to do that. My email's on there. My number, direct at work, is on there. So you're welcome to reach out, and I'm happy to help where I can.